I see an America where we hold fast to the fearless belief that built our nation.
We are indeed a nation in decline.
It is now our turn to do what generations before us have done, guided by optimism.
It's a massive invasion at our southern border that has spread misery, crime, poverty, disease, and destruction.
I will not cozy up to tyrants and dictators like Kim Jong-un who are rooting for Trump. They are rooting, she then reiterated, they are rooting for Trump. They are rooting for Trump because they know he is easy to manipulate with flattery and favors. They know Trump won't hold autocrats accountable because he wants to be an autocrat. I have to say, that little piece of analysis is something that almost never gets articulated that way. Instead, it gets described as something that's unbecoming or un-American seeming or puzzling.
This ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll. That is a dramatic turnaround. Harris is holding a 51% to 45% lead.
I mean, in an ideal world, most wouldn't need a literal side-by-side comparison of speeches from Kamala Harris versus Captain Bone Spurs and the tale of the late great Hannibal Lecter. But here we are, and it's even more shocking than you think. As the DNC wrapped up, there were a plethora of videos circulating across social media showing the clear disparity between the RNC, which read more like a funeral, or JD Vance visiting a donut shop, versus Lil Jon's DNC concert.
Delegates and alternates, let us commence with a call of the roll of the states.
Delegates, are you ready? Let me hear you.
Iowa, 40 delegates.
Dude, you gotta do it.
Georgia, 59 delegates.
Not to mention the contrast in guests. I mean, Hulk Hogan attended one at RNC and his biopic got cancelled. Meanwhile, the stock of anyone seen at the DNC has only soared.
When adults were asked, quote, which candidate is good enough physical health to serve effectively, Harris leads Trump by a 30-point margin. And as you can see there, Donald Trump had led Biden by a 31-point margin. So what? 61-point swing on that question in just a month. Harris also has a 9-point advantage when it comes to having the mental sharpness required to serve effectively. And that erases a 30-point lead that Donald Trump had over Joe Biden on that question. There's also new swing state polling out. In the latest New York Times Siena College poll, Harris leads Trump by 5 points among likely voters in Arizona. That's a big shift. And by 2 points in North Carolina, another big shift, and also suggesting that far from the map closing in on Democrats, it is now expanded out, and North Carolina now obviously going to have to be fought for by Donald Trump. Donald Trump leads Harris, meanwhile, by 4 percentage points in Georgia and by a single point in Nevada. All those results are with a margin of error. In the May poll conducted when Joe Biden was still the presumptive Democratic nominee, Trump led by 6 points in Arizona, 9 points in Georgia, and 13 points in Nevada. North Carolina was not even part of that previous poll.
But as we got around to the meat of the event, right, the speeches, the gap only widened between policy versus profanity, future versus fear-mongering, comedy versus cringe, and ultimately prosecutor versus felon. And as MSNBC's Morning Joe outlined, that comparison is nothing short of astounding when pieced side by side.
Poverty, disease, and destruction.
I will be a president who unites us.
Crazy Nancy Pelosi.
Who is realistic.
The biggest rallies you've ever seen.
Practical.
Build an Iron Dome over our country.
And has common sense.
The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He'd love to have you for dinner.
And I will fulfill our sacred obligation to care for our troops and their families.
The head of the Taliban, you call me Your Excellency. I wonder if he calls the other guy Your Excellency. I doubt it.
I will always honor and never disparage their service.
Our military is not woke. It's just some of the fools on top that are woke.
I will not cozy up to tyrants and dictators like Kim Jong-un.
North Korea, Kim Jong-un, I got along very well with him.
Donald Trump, he was found guilty of fraud by a jury of everyday Americans.
We will return law and order to our streets.
Separately found liable for committing sexual abuse.
We will launch a new era of safety.
You can always trust me to hold sacred America's fundamental principles, from the rule of law to free and fair elections to the peaceful transfer of power.
We had that horrible, horrible result that we'll never let happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat. We're never going to let it happen again.
Now listen, do I think who has the best guest speakers at their convention is going to swing this election? No, despite the clear and obvious winner here. But speeches like this will. And as Fox host Jessica Tarlov pointed out in the Lion's Den afterwards on Fox News, after Kamala Harris's speech, countless undecided voters vowed that they'd vote for her.
The evidence of how well she did was in cold hard facts. In ratings, Trump's favorite thing, 22% up from Donald Trump's acceptance speech, 7.2 million raised between 11 p.m. and midnight over the course of the entire week. ActBlue says over $100 million came in for Democratic candidates, organizations. There was a panel of undecided Pennsylvania voters, a focus group, 8 of them in there. 6, after watching the speech, are now going with Kamala Harris. Those are all hard facts that show that she did a really good job. We know about the enthusiasm being up. We know about the polls going in her direction.
I just want to add one thing. I think Jackie Heinrich reported this morning that I guess about the riff. I don't doubt that someone told her that. I actually wondered, though, when I saw it, if we were being punked. Typically, the candidate isn't here all 4 nights. Also, what Kamala Harris did last night, she went to a swing state. They filled another arena, the same one that President Trump was in, and we all were in a month ago. And the thing that's quite incredible is that why would they do that? Well, one of the reasons is because David Plouffe, who's now running this campaign, and he had run the Obama campaigns, he knows exactly how to get new voters' phone numbers and their names, and I bet that all of them were contacted today to said, will you vote? Can we count on you to vote? Can you give us $20? They just raised $500 million in the last month, and 62% of the people that donated are people who never even gave a dime to Joe Biden. So I think that was also partly the strategic reason to have her there in a swing state.
I've yet to see any polls or surveys that suggest people switch their vote to Trump after speeches like this.
When I heard about it, how does the press get this information that's classified? How do they do it? You know why? Because it's an illegal process. You are old enough to have seen a time that was much different. You never saw heads chopped off until a few years ago. They built pipelines, and they failed. Didn't work. They paid millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to consultants and lawyers, and they failed.
Let me ask you this, sir. There has been a huge appeal and momentum for women voters. She's trying to pull the youth vote, the Hispanic vote, the black vote back in her direction. Polls show that she's having some success in that at this point. So what are you going to do? What's your strategy to rebuild the momentum that you had with those voters?
No, she's not having success. I'm having success. I'm doing great with the Hispanic voters. I'm doing great with black men. I'm doing great with women because women want safety. They want safety. And they don't have safety when they have somebody allowing 20 million people into our country, many of them very dangerous people. No, it's only in your eyes that they have that, Martha. We're doing very well in the polls. We're leading in most of the polls. And in the swing states, we're leading in almost every one of them.
Mr. President,
Michigan,
let me interrupt.
The auto workers are voting for me because you're not going to have an auto industry if she gets elected.
Mr.
They're going
President,
to all electric cars.
As orators, there is no comparison. As career politicians, it's night and day, but on actionable political policy, plans for the future, one has surgically outlined what they're going to do on day one, from codifying Roe to continuing her already notable work, taking on Big Pharma to make healthcare more affordable. The other, well, we've just to wait around for something big and beautiful.
By contrast, I'm going to keep the Affordable Care Act unless we can do something much better. We'll keep it. It stinks. It's not good. If we can do something better, we're going to do something with it. If we can do better, meaning less expensive and better health care for you, less expensive and better health care for you, then we'll do it. We're not looking better for the government. We're looking better for you. She goes around saying, well, he's going to get rid of the health. No, I'm going to keep it unless we can come up with something that's better for you and less expensive for you. Otherwise, we're not doing it.
If it's trending in her direction, which I believe that it is, maybe it ends up better. But Donald Trump has been, for instance, saying that he's going to introduce a big, beautiful health care plan. And there are no specifics on it. And Kamala is being held to a standard where she has to tell you the nuts and bolts of things, where people are saying, you tell us exactly that. She's supposed to talk about her economic plan on Friday. The press is already saying it'll be, quote, light on detail. They don't know. Could it be as light as big and beautiful? I doubt it.
Are you actually arguing that Donald Trump is held to a lower standard than Kamala Harris?
Yeah, actually I am. If you could say, I'm going to get rid of Obamacare and I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do, then that is the lowest standard of all.
There was no comparison, and after this, in the words of Steph Curry / Steve Kerr, night night Trump.
In the words of the great Steph Curry, we can tell Donald Trump, night night.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.